All right. Hello, and happy Thursday, everyone. We are almost through the week and the weekend's coming up, and that means time to craft. I'm very excited about tonight's project. If you have not had a chance to use I meant to have it up here with me, the Siser Puff vinyl, whoa, are you going to be amazed? The Puff vinyl is, it cuts like regular vinyl, and you apply it with heat like regular vinyl, but it puffs up. So it's not a flat vinyl. It gives you a little bit of puff. So I've got my shirt on today with the puff vinyl, and I'm really excited. I don't usually wear shirts that I make. I usually gift them out, and especially not in a workshop, but I just love this one so much. I was like, I'm wearing that. And so anyway, so I hope you guys make a shirt with the puff vinyl and enjoy the process. We also have a special treat because now this is a little bit difficult to see in our lighting because the bag is black, but I use color on this bag, and the inside you may recognize is fabric. So not only am I going to show you how we just use the puff vinyl for a word across your chest or any type of design that you would want to do with regular vinyl, I'm also going to show you, merging two sewing and crafting worlds, how to use the puff vinyl to sort of create an applique effect on your garments, on your tote bags, anything like that. So without further ado, I'd love to know if you guys wouldn't mind, if you want to, popping in the Q&A and letting me know if you have the Siser vinyl and if you will be crafting along with me, or if you're just sort of like, I just want to soak it all in today and learn everything about this particular type of vinyl and how I use it. So I'll go over a little bit of my supplies. Obviously, I have the Siser Puff vinyl. It's the Siser Easy Weed Puff vinyl. I'll be using an easy press. You can use an auto press. I actually have both an auto press and the easy press. I liked the results I got from the easy press. I think it was because I was able to push down and put a little more pressure with the heat, and that helped it to pop up. Counterintuitive, I know, but I liked that result. So I'm going to be using my easy press tonight. Obviously, I have my Siser Juliet cutter. The vinyl cuts on any type of cutter. So if you're joining us with a Silhouette or with a Cricut machine, the cutting instructions, the pressure and everything is on their website. And there's actually a QR code on the packaging that if you scan that, it will take you to their website and give you the cutting instructions if you're using a different type of machine. Otherwise, I'll be using my sleek little Juliet over here to cut with that. I also have a cutting mat. You do not have to use a cutting mat with the vinyl, but since I'm going to be incorporating some fabric in here, I wanted to make sure I had my cutting mat. I'll use my brayer to make sure everything's pushed down, and then we have a trimmer and obviously a shirt and different materials. So why don't we go ahead and get started without any further ado. I'll share my screen here and we'll jump right into the Cricut, the Siser software. Let me see how to share my screen here. Go big. All right. My screen got minimized, so I don't have my little share button there. There we go. Okay. So let's just go into the Leonardo software. Now I do have the pro version of software on my computer. Is it not sharing to you guys?
Yes, we can't see the screen yet.
Weird. Okay, I'm gonna turn that down and we'll try again. There we go. All right. Always turn it off and turn it back on. That always works. Okay, so what you see, so I do have the pro version of the Leonardo Design Studio, which if you're new to the Leonardo Studio, you get for 30 days. And what I'm using for this today, I'll be using two different features. I'll be using an offset feature as well as the curve text feature. If you don't have those features, one way you can use the offset to create your design is to find a font that is an outline type of font. Okay, so I thought it'd be fun to do, since I'm wearing my black shirt with the black, I also wanted to do a white on white. So I've got this bride design created here. Now it's going to cut out on white, but you wouldn't be able to see it if I left it that way. So let me show you how I created the curved text and the outline. The first thing you're going to do is slide down to your toolbar down here at the bottom and click on that big T, and that's the text button. Now, you can choose any type of text that is installed, font that is installed on your computer already. So it goes into your font files and picks out any of the fonts that you have. If you wanted to add the curve to it, then you would go into the text file that had the T that has the curve underneath it. And that will allow you to put your text on a curve. So what we're going to do is go ahead and begin to write the text. Let me just bump this right out of the way so we have a clean work surface here. So I just go into this little box on the right and I'm going to type in the word bride. And I can change my size. So if I want to do, say, 3-inch letters, I could just change my size of my letters right there. Ooh, those are really big. And then you can change the radius to kind of spread those out a little bit. So if I wanted to change my radius, I would just say, I want a bigger radius. I would say 6 inches, and that would give my words a little bit more room to spread out there. So I may have to tweak it a little bit down the line. Then I'm going to go into my font style. Now you can choose any, like I said, any font that you have in your computer, you can choose. So for a bride, you may want to go with something a little bit fancier or keep it simple, totally up to you. I kind of liked going with more of a chunky look. There was one, I downloaded a font called University from, always check your sources if you download a font. I did use DaFont to find my fonts, DaFont, and also with your Siser Juliet or Romeo, you do have 1 year of, and I can't find the font I'm looking for. You have 1 year of using, what's it called? Creative Fabrica, and they have a lot of fonts in there. So let me just grab this retro font that I like to use. It's called Retro something. Retro Magic. So I'm going to pull up the Retro Magic, and it kind of gives like a really fun look. It's a little curvy. It's not as stark as the University is. So I kind of like that look of it. And then if I want to, I can come back in and change the radius a little bigger or smaller if you want to right here. So let's see what a 7 radius would look like. Ooh, that really brought it up. Let's see if we can find it. Oh, that's 19. Wait, that's way too big. All right. Let's see where that went to. Okay, so here it is at a 7 radius, which is pretty good. And it's going to be 8 inches wide. So that would be great. You could just cut that out and it would do, the whole letters would be cut out of the vinyl. But if you want to do the offset, you can use this little star here, and we're going to say, give it an editable contour. So you check that editable contour, and then you want to include the holes because we want to contour in there. Now, if you go negative, that goes inside the line. If you go positive number, it goes outside the line. So if I want to do like a very small edge inside the line, I'm going to show you both of them so you can kind of see how it works. So if we go with a negative, I'm going to go with a negative 0.8 or 0.08. And I'm going to keep my corners round, and I'll do my contour color in black. So let's apply that. So you can kind of see, oops, haven't that I said do it. There it is. Let's see. Let me go back in and bring that to the front. Since it's on the inside, we want it to the front of our letters. So go negative .08. Keep it round, include the holes, and we're going to bring it to the front and it'll be black. So there we go. So now you can see that I've got the inside of the word is done. Now, the reason I did the inside of the word and not just the outside of the word, I want to show you why I did that. So let me give myself another here. When I did it on the outside, and these don't, well, these do, we do want these centered up. When I did it on the outside, what I found was that it, on the outside of the words, the letters kind of bumped into each other. So let me just show you how I did that. My mouse is not doing a good job tracking for me here. Okay, so if I take this new bride that I copied and I go back and do the contours and I say an editable contour, and let's do a 0.08 on the outside of the letter, so positive. We're going to include those holes. Now you can see that offset, the letters are actually touching each other. So if you wanted the letters to touch each other in your design, you could do it on the outside. Each one, though, we will select each letter, select each word, and do the weld feature. And this is going to cut out like a cookie cutter, the top layer from the bottom layer. So when I do that, I'm just left with that as my outline. And when I go here and do it, I'm left with this with my outline. So do you see the difference? I don't know how to get that back in the center of my thing. I've moved my mat somehow off to the side here. Okay, so I want to point out that difference because when you use the puff sort of expands. So where these letters are touching, that's really going to fill in. When you use this one, these letters won't necessarily touch, but they will look more like this when they're finished. So they'll still have a little bit of space in between. All right. Are there any questions about, I see a couple questions. So before I go to my cut side, let me just check on those questions. Okay, so Luke is crafting along with me. Awesome. And Shantae, I'm using the Leonardo software, and it is free to use to do your designs. I do have the pro version, which does have a fee associated with it, but you don't have to, you can use the free version and send to your cutter. All right, so once you have whatever word you're doing, you could do, bride, mom, dad, whatever word you're doing, go ahead and create your contour, and then we're going to send this design to cut. So when I send it to cut, I'm going to send, this is only one layer, so it will stay on the same page. If I had multiple colors, they would go on different pages, but this is just going to be on one page here. Now I'll use my cutting mat, and I'm going to set my cutting directions right here. For me, a speed of 10 worked with a force of 13. The recommended cut settings are a speed of 5 to 10 and a cut setting of, a force of 5 to 10 and a cut setting of 10, your speed at 10. Mine, I did a couple practice runs, and the speed at 10 with the force at 13, it did the weeding like butter. So I kind of bumped my force up a little bit. Definitely do that little test cut. And then since we are using this as a heat transfer, we want to make sure to mirror our image, and then I can add that auto weed box or not. Some people like to have that on there. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I don't have like a specific one way or the other. And then I'm going to send it to my cutter when I'm ready. So let's get my mat prepared. If you're crafting along with me, you're going to take your mat and always save your little protective sleeve. And so this is going to be for the bride. and I'll use the white puff vinyl. Now, if you've used heat transfer vinyl before, you're probably very familiar that it has a shiny side and a matte side. Most every other heat transfer vinyl I've used, you put the shiny side down and you cut on the back. The puff vinyl, the shiny side is actually the material. So when you're putting it on your mat, you put the flat side down with the shiny side up. I made that mistake. So I'm saving you from making that mistake. My piece is going to be, I'm going to cut like 3 inches tall. So I kind of like to give myself enough extra space. Now I could load this in. Actually, let's try that. I'll load it in without a mat. Oh, I did say I was using a cut mat. Let's see. I'll use a material roll. So I switched it on my machine to use the material roll. So I'll go ahead and load my material. I don't even need to use my mat, do I? Oh, thank you. Perfect timing. So we're going to just go ahead and load this right into the machine. Now, on the back of the machine are the levers that hold the wheels. So I'm going to push the lever down so I can just load this right into the back of the machine. And the wheels don't get stopped. So I have space in there to move everything around. Once I have this in the machine, I'm going to position the corner of the material at the drop point of the blade. So the blade actually starts cutting right where it is. So on your screen, there's like a little box here that pushes that blade back. And so you know right where your stop point is. So I'm going to put it underneath. And I go back just a little bit, right about there. Okay, now once I have it in position, I'm going to push my lever up. And that's going to clamp the material in place. So my material now will not move if I touch it. From my laptop, I'm going to go ahead and say send to cutter. And it's funny because I always use a mat. I'm so used to using a mat, so I always put it on a mat. Makes me nervous. So it's just going to do the cutting. Now, if I wanted to, I could set the cut settings on my LED screen here. There's a line that says cut settings, and I could set up a material for the puff vinyl, and then I always have that setting right there. That way you don't have sticky notes sitting all over the place. But this is kind of nice because you don't have to worry about trimming it down or anything like that. You can have plenty of material on there, and it's just cutting away for me. All right, well, that's working. I'm just check and make sure we don't have any questions. All right, feel free to ask questions if you have questions as we're working along. All right, so now it's done cutting, and I'm gonna pop that lever. I'm gonna see if I can maybe turn this around so you can see the lever on the back side here. So see that little lever there? When I pop it, these springs come up, and now my material just loads right out of the back of the machine. Isn't that cool? All right, so once we've got that done, now we're ready to weed our design out. And you can see it's in there. I don't think I did the weeding box. I should have done my weeding box on this. But that way I would trim it down just the right amount. I'm just going to trim it and make sure I have enough room to play with. Okay. So I can just trim this off, and you notice I put it with the shiny side facing up into the machine. Didn't even need my brayer for that. So once you've got that done, then we're just going to take our design here, and I can see where it's cut. I'm going to begin, you can either begin at your inside parts or the outside parts, either way. So we'll start removing this. I think this side is my, I think this is the B here. So we'll trim that down, save that for something else. If you have to do some test cuts or anything like that, you can always have a little piece to work with. And there we go. So it did take me a while to get the right settings for it to weed this easily. And I thought to myself, oh, what have I gotten myself into with this material? It doesn't weed as easily as the other Siser material did until I got the right settings. So when you have the right settings, your extra vinyl pieces will just walk right off of your carrier sheet. And then you're just going to come in and remove your inner pieces here. Inside my R. I usually, if I can see what I'm doing, I'll start with my middle pieces and then I'll work my way out, because then your hand doesn't stick to your vinyl or the carrier sheet, at least. Okay, now remember, this is just going to be an outline, so I still need to cut out or remove the bride part. If you are so inclined, you can do that without a weeding tool, so that you can save those pieces and use those for another project for a bride. So if you wanted to, you could just walk those off and not use a weeding tool, and then you've got that. Geez, you can put it back on the carrier sheet when you're done, whatever you'd like to do. I'll go ahead and do that just in case anybody's crafting along with me, give you the chance to catch up if you need to. Now, the question is, would I remember which side is the puff side? Probably not, so we're not going to save those. I will not remember when I go back to it. It looks very similar. I probably would not remember which is the puff. All right, so there is our first word, bride, and that's done. Now, like my shirt is the black on really kind of like an off-whitish black, but not an off-whitish black, but a gray black. Okay, so the heating though, the heating is what is really important and the most fun part of this. So I'm heating up my easy press to 280 degrees. And then we get some of this stuff put aside here so we can have that. I'm heating that up to 280 degrees. Let me grab my shirt. We're going to put this on. I just figured I would use a white shirt for my our bride to be. Just use a nice white shirt. And this is the Gildan, which I just hadn't bought shirts recently. I have a whole stash of them, and the price is so good right now at Michael's on these shirts. I was like, oh, I should stock up. Now, I do usually across the chest, the largest I go, it really varies on the size of the t-shirt you're doing. 9 inches I find is about the largest I go for a medium to large size. If you're doing a small size, then 8 inches is about the largest I go. So it just depends on what size you're doing as far as like how you want it to fit across. So you could take like a tape measure and kind of get an idea for how far you want that design to go. Okay, so what I'm doing is just folding my shirt in half from the neck down to the bottom to find the center of my shirt. Once I've found the center of my shirt, I'll just use my easy press and press it. So why do you need to pre-press your shirt? I'm pre-pressing my shirt because it takes out any extra moisture that's in the shirt. So the shirt this is 100% cotton shirt. It's Gildan, right? Yeah, they're Gildan shirts. They're 100% cotton. The puff vinyl, I think, is designed for 100% cotton shirts. So it is 100% cotton shirt. It's Gildan, and I got it at a great price at Michael's. Good question. And I'm using the puff vinyl. And the machine I use to cut, is that what you're asking, Jamie? The machine I use to cut is the Siser Juliet. So it's the 12-inch one. They also have the Romeo, which is a little bit bigger. So if you want a bigger opening, I think it's 24 inches. Okay, so we're gonna just press that and remove any moisture from your shirt. Moisture is, you want to have your shirt have no moisture, so you don't want to use a steam iron or anything when you're using iron-on material. The moisture can get released from your shirt and get between the vinyl and your shirt and the adhesive on the back of it. So that's a problem for your vinyl holding onto your shirt. So you always want to do that pre-press. That's one step you really don't want to ignore. And then if you feel so inclined, you can take like a lint roller and roll the front of your shirt. I don't always do this. I don't always run a lint roller over it. But if you want to, you can do that. And then we're just gonna grab a ruler and put that across my shirt. So I know about where my placement's gonna go. Now, so how do you know where to place your element on your shirt? Depending on the size of your shirt, I usually do a finger rule. So if I'm designing for a child, I do 2 fingers from the neckline to the top of the design. So it's 2 fingers. If I'm doing like a small or a woman's shirt, like a small woman's shirt, I'll do 3 fingers. If I'm doing a little bit like a medium or a large shirt, I do 4 to 5 fingers. So it could almost be a whole hand. So you can see on my design from the top here where my collar is down to the top of the design, it's almost a full hand down. So that's how I guide my placement of my design, of the top of my design on my shirt. So we're going to go ahead and I almost wonder if I should put this on black or I'm thinking, should I put it on black so you guys can really see the puff? Like, I don't know on camera if the white's going to show up as well. We'll try it. I have another one cut out. So, and another shirt I can grab if you guys want me to show you on a different color. So I've done the weeding. So we cut it out. I've done the weeding. We mirrored our design. And I just need to find the center of my design. So I just fold it in half and give like 2 little creases there. So I can see the center of my design, and that's going to go along that center line. So when I did my pre-press, I removed, I folded it in half and I pressed on that center line. So I have a center line right on my t-shirt. And I'm just going to go about 5 fingers down. It's a whole hand down. A little piece of something there. Let's see. Let's put that about 5 fingers down like that. And then I'm just going to line the seam up the center of my design with that crease line. So see how that's lined up? White on white. And then if you want to, you can take your ruler. This happens just to be a big, huge ruler I have. Find your center line, and then you want to make sure that from your center point, you have the same distance on each side. So if I go grab my center point here, it's about 8 inches. I should have 8 inches on this side, which I do. So that's perfect. So I've got that placed nicely. I'm happy with my placement of it. Now, this is the key. I would recommend to take some of the extra pieces that you have and do a practice run. The reason why, I did a couple different practices. Let me see. My scraps here. So I took some of the different pieces and I ran them in the auto press. And what I found, my first project I did was a total bust. I'm going to try and come closer to the camera. Tell me if this is out of focus or if you can see. Okay. Oh, that's good, actually. So this one I did on my auto press at 300 for 10 seconds. And you can see it's like really pebbly and it just did not turn out very well. So then I thought, okay, I'll go down a little bit. And I did it. That one was at 310 and this one is at 300. So it's not as bad, but it still was like pebbly. And then I did it 300 on my easy press. So, you know, again, not that bad, but still I was like, oh, it's a little pebbly. So then I went down to 280 on the auto press, which was good. I was happy with it, but still I was like, it's a little pebbly. Then I did 280 on the easy press and boy, was I happy. So can you see the puff on that? It's really cool. All right, so I would say keep a little bit of your scraps and run some of those tests. I even went down to 270 degrees on the auto press and it still was a little pebbly. So keep your scraps and run some trial runs with what you have. Siser does not recommend using your home iron on this particular vinyl. It doesn't get hot enough. You don't have even pressure. I mean, it would get hot enough, but you don't have even pressure. And you just need that even pressure with the press. So we're going to do 280 degrees on the easy press with 10 seconds. So I'm just going to bring this over and I'm going to put some pressure on it. and I turn it on. So I don't normally put pressure on my vinyl, to be honest with you, but I found with just a little bit of pressure, a little bit more than usual, this puffed up so nicely. So that's it. And you want to do a cool press, I mean a hot press. And there we are. Let me bring this over close to this camera, see if we can do that again. Sorry, everybody, but look at that. Isn't that so cool? Like you can really see the dimension on that shirt. So I love it. And actually, now that I'm close enough, I figured out that works. I can show you the mom on the dog bag, so you can see that too. See that? Cool. All right. So that is how you use the puff vinyl. It's so easy. It really gives like a really nice look on your fabric, on your shirt. It's very subtle from a distance, but then when you get up close, it's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And it really feels cool. We were talking about how it feels. Does it matter placement and size for big chest? You know, I would do the same thing. Put your hand up. Like if you're doing, say, if you're doing an extra large or something like that, you may want to do like go down three fingers or something like that. But if 5 fingers should kind of give you about the same distance down. There's no like measure, everybody's hand is different. So, and everyone's chest is a little bit different. So I would just kind of go with that and see where it falls. Also, a lot of times I will look at shirts that I like to wear and I'm like, where is that placed? And then I'll kind of look at that and see how that's placed on a design. And do that. So, all right, if there's no more questions about just using the Easy Puff material, I wanted to show you the fabric. So this was my inspiration. These are my sorority letters. And I loved the applique of these with the double layers on there. Let me show you what we're gonna do. And it sort of comes off the mom thing, but I mean the dog thing. So I have 2 different fabrics here. This one is, my kids go to James Madison University, so I was thinking I could just use this and do a big JMU would be one option. And then I also have this baseball material here, which would be cute to cut out the mom from the baseball material. So I think this is what we'll do for this one. If we have time, I'll do the third one. What I'm using, and I'm going to cut this fabric with my Juliet. What I'm using is a stabilizer. If you just were to put your material in the Juliet, I don't know if I have my sample here, it squinched it up. It did not hold it steady. So it just pulled it up and it just squinched it in the machine. So one of my tests was I just used an old piece of removable vinyl on my material to cut, and that did a pretty good job. I'm still working on my cut settings. And then I did another one and it cut all the way through the removable vinyl. So I kind of backed off my force a little bit. So my first one, where's that first one? This first one I did had like 100 force, and then I went to like 75 and then 50. I finally landed on 40 as being the best force to cut out the letters. So I'm going to cut out these letters and they get like a really nice clean edge on them using just the regular blade. And then this is what we're going to do. So the outside edge will be the puff vinyl and the inside will be fabric. So it's very cool. I do have to say that I tried it with just a strip of the vinyl over the fabric, and that did, like, it pulled off. So I realized you have to enclose all of the vinyl to make it work. Okay, but to prep your material, we are using this heat and bond, and it's just your standard heat and bond. It comes in small packages or big packages. I have it on a whole, I use this. It's Pellon heat and bond, and this one happens to be the heavy duty Wonder Under. So it has a paper on one side and then adhesive on the other side. So first you can apply it to your fabric. So you put your fabric down, wrong side facing up, and then we're gonna go ahead and put the heat and bond on top of that. And it does not take much to heat set it. So we're just gonna go ahead and put that on there. I usually do 300 for about 15 seconds. So we're gonna do 280 for 10, which is what I did earlier, and that worked out fine. So you just wanna make sure that you get the whole piece on there. Now, what I did find that during the cutting part of it, I needed more fabric on there than less. So what I mean by that is if I tried to be skimpy, let me see what I do with my scissors. If I tried to be skimpy and like just use a little bit of fabric, what I found was the machine, it did like, what am I trying to say? You can't cut like right on the edge of your fabric. It's just, I don't know why it, you need to have enough of your fabric attached to the mat that you're cutting with so that you get a good hold on the material on your mat. So you're just going to take your cutting mat and position your material on the mat. So I guess basically what I'm saying is like if I cut vinyl, I can go right down to this corner and start cutting. When I did that, more often than not, I found my material would get kind of caught up in the machine. So that's when I realized, oh, if I do a little bit more material, then that material is going to hold on to my mat and it's easier to cut. So I've got my heat and bond is on my material. That's giving that material stiffness. You could also use freezer paper, but you just want to have some sort of bonding surface on there. And so my heat and bond is on the back. I've heated that up. I put my material down on my mat. I've done the brayer. So I know it's nice and it's going to stick on there for me. Now let's load our mat in. Again, I'm just going in from the back. I've got my housing is right there. So I'm not going to put it right on that front edge of it. I'm going to sort of come, bring it up a little bit and bring it over a little bit. So it has room to play. So see how it's like, it's just the blade's not quite on the edge. I give myself a little bit more room if I wanted to. All right. It's hard to look at it from the top angle here. I want to just make sure, yeah, okay, I've got plenty of room. So there's fabric to the left and in the front of the blade, and that's all going to stay. Now I'm going to share my screen again because I have this already designed out for the mom. So we're going to do the mom applique. So I basically did the same process as we did with the bride. I designed my letters and then did the offset on my letters. So the offset will be the puff layer and this green mom will be my fabric layer. So I'm ready to send my design. And I want to make it fit on the page and separate my colors. So now I have this black layer here. This will be my iron-on material, and this will be my fabric. The green layer here will be my fabric. So we're going to do the fabric first. Now your fabric, you do not need to mirror because it's going to stay upright. Even though we're heating it on the surface, you don't need to mirror it. But your vinyl, the puff vinyl, we need to mirror that layer. So we're just going to select the mirror. And if you want to do the auto weed box, you can do that around the edge too. That kind of gives you a nice little, how do you do? So let's go back over here. We don't need to, I don't need to mirror it. I don't need to auto weed it. And I do need to change my settings. So I'm going to do a speed of 10 and a force of 40 for fabric. And then I'm ready to go. So let's see, this one I've got on my cutting mat. Make sure I've got that right. No, I don't. Yes, I do. Okay. So we're going to send that to the cutter. And it's saying, yes, is that the right blade, the right force, and the right speed? Yes, it is. So we'll stop share and automatically it starts cutting. That is one thing I like about this machine is that once you send that design over from your software, it automatically starts cutting. So it's going to town there for me. We're done. All right, let me release my lever and we'll take that out and you'll see how well that cut. Now, if it didn't cut all the way through, you know, there might be like some little pieces that are still attached, which I'm okay with that because I can just grab my scissors and cut those little spots off. So I don't know, I just in my practicing of this, I found like it was better to have extra material down on your mat than less material down on your mat. So we've got our 4 little moms, M-O-M, and I think so I'm gonna put this on the other side of that black bag. I'm gonna use the white vinyl again, the white iron-on puff. So here we go, I'll put my puff in. Now, I'm gonna go to, let me share my screen again because we're gonna do that next layer. I'll share the screen. So now I'm gonna come back up to the outline of the mom, and I do need to mirror it, which is funny because mom, it doesn't necessarily need to be mirrored, but we're gonna mirror it. And I'm gonna add the weed box onto it. And then I need to make sure that I change my settings again. So I'm not cutting fabric this time, I'm cutting the puff. So I'll do 10 and 13. And I'm gonna load in my material. Let me stop share. Okay, so let's load in this material. Shiny side up. I have to tell myself that because usually with iron-on material, you always do shiny side down. I'm gonna do the shiny side up. And I'm gonna bring it back to the corner of that housing piece. Right about there. We'll clamp it down. And once it's clamped down, we can just start going. So I'm gonna say send a cutter and it will cut these out for me. So one thing to keep in mind, also, once you've added the heat and bond on the back of your letters, you have to peel that off. So the heat and bond has a paper side, you know, it had the adhesive side and the paper side. So when you peel the paper off, now the adhesive side is down on your fabric. So these are now like iron-on patches. I don't know if I showed you, like, if I really spoke about how clean the cut is on these. It's just, it's so clean. It's perfect. It's better than I could do by hand. Way better than I could do by hand. So we just peel that off and then we'll have to weed out our mom. Peel it off. All right, while I'm weeding, were there any questions that maybe popped up that I missed, or did anybody have, if you have questions, this is always a good, whenever I'm weeding, that's always a good time to ask a question or two.
There is one question that someone asked.
Yes, yes.
Should I read it?
Yeah, please, that would be
Oh,
great.
yeah. Okay, so A Rhodes asks, at Michael's, what colors of puff do you have? Is it just the basic black and white, or do you have other options?
I believe there's red and blue at Michael's, as well as, I think I even saw like an orange and a green, like a neon orange and green. But don't quote me on that. I think too, every Michael's is a little bit different in what they have in stock. So what one Michael's has in stock, not every Michael's will have in stock, if that makes sense. So I would check your Michael's, but I think there's like 4 or 5 colors that they have in stock or that they carry. Okay, so there's my, I've done that. That's my weeding box. You see the beauty of the weeding box. And now I'm just gonna weed out the centers. And I do have to say, like, it really did take me a couple different times of cutting and increasing my force before I really got a cut that was like smooth as butter, that, you know, weeds as easily as this does. So if your first couple of cuts, you're like, oh, this, I was expecting this to weed easier. It does weed easier. You just have to change your cut settings. Easy. All right, so now we're just gonna cut that right out. Now, this is the fun part here, when you get to kind of put your puzzle back together. So what I'm gonna do here is take my outline of my letters. I've got that there, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, how are you gonna get that fabric placed properly on your blank with the outline of the letters? Like, if I put my letters down, is my outline gonna be off? No, it's not. I'm gonna show you my trick. But first we're gonna put this in. And you just wanna, same as your t-shirt, you wanna give your bag, your tote bag, a little press. And I love this baseball fabric. If you have a mom who's, you know, got kids in baseball or football or soccer or anything like that, you can really make a cute little gift for them. So I'm just gonna heat this up and get any moisture out of there. Do a quick little lint roller. Okay, so whoop. Now that black really does hold the lint, which is kind of good. You get to see that there really is lint on things, not just making it up. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this your way. How am I going to get my letters placed on my bag so that my outline will go over it? We are going to use the sticky part of the vinyl. This page here, the clear carrier sheet, is sticky. So I can take my letters and place them, my fabric letters, and place them inside my vinyl letters to get my placement. And they fit right inside the vinyl, but the vinyl puffs up and will cover those edges. So that's where you don't have to worry about your fabric fraying or anything like that. It's just going to puff right up and cover those edges for you. Okay, so once you've got that kind of positioned, now we'll just put it on our bag. And you really want to make sure everything's going to line up. So you've got it, you know, double check your work there. I probably shouldn't have held it up like I did, but let me just do that again. We go to the M in there. Okay. There you go. And then we're going to pop that right on our bag. Now you use your ruler and line this up and make sure it's all lined up. But we're not going to, we'll do the fabric first, and then we're going to come back and do the vinyl next. So I'm going to carefully peel off this liner carrier sheet, walking my hands on it. And you don't need much, that 280 degrees at 10 seconds. Well, that will heat up that heat and bond. So sealing the letters of the fabric letters onto your tote. And if you put this on upside down, you'd have, wow. Okay, now we're going to put on our vinyl. And that's just going to go right over the top there. Just want to realign everything back up like that. And we'll do it 280 degrees for 10 seconds. Bring that back over. Again, that medium to heavy press. And then you bring that off and you peel when hot. Ooh. That did not work that well. I say it didn't work that well because it's didn't stay down. Now the Easy Puff is a one and done type of material, so like you really shouldn't reheat it. Oh no. Not sure what happened there. Oh no, it really didn't stick down. That was a disaster. I don't know what happened. It didn't stick down around my letters. Maybe I did it when it was too hot. Ooh. But there we go. I'm probably gonna come back just so that I don't have to throw the bag away. And we're just gonna do, I will not have the full puff on this one. But I want to make sure that is sticking down. If you reheat it, it loses the puff. So that's why you wouldn't normally reheat it, but something happened there with mine. I don't know what. This one, it worked out perfectly. Maybe I just didn't let it cool. Maybe I should have cooled between the layers there. I'm sorry. But still pretty cute though, gotta say. I think
It still looks great.
I would still carry it. I wouldn't gift it, but I would definitely carry that myself. All right, well, we are about out of time. If there are any more questions, if anybody has any last questions that we didn't get answered.
There's one more question. Where can you purchase Heat and Bind?
Heat and Bond, you can find if you go, Michaels carries it. It's in a little package and it'll have pink on it. If you go into like where the fabric section is, it's right in there and you can get like a little package of it. I happen to do a lot of applique for other craft projects, so I have the bolt in my craft room. But the little package of Heat and Bond for a single project, you know, if you're just going to do one little layer or something like that, you should be good to go with what they have there. Otherwise, check a local fabric store. You might have it by the yard. All right, well, thank you so much, everybody. I can't wait to see what you do. Please do tag Learn with Michaels if you create a project and you want to share it with everybody. I'd love to see it. You can also tag me at Kesley.365. And we do have some other fun classes coming up in March, so be sure to check out learnwithmichaels.com for all of the upcoming classes on the Michaels website. I guess it's not learnwithmichaels.com, it's just the Michaels website. We'll have it. So thanks so much, everybody. Have a good evening.